The New York Globe published a scathing editorial of Birth of a Nation on April 16, 1915, claiming that it was a pathetic attempt to make a buck off of spreading racial hatred. The director D.W. Griffith's defense was printed 4 days later in the Globe and offers a revealing look of how many have used the film's artistic merits in order to erase or justify the Birth of a Nation's white supremacist message. The Globe's editorial, capitalizing race hatred, correctly assessed the Birth of a Nation intended to intensify race prejudices that were still very much alive in the 1910s. In his response, Griffith denied any malicious intent, and even went as far as to argue that the Birth of a Nation promoted harmony between the races. Griffith wrote that no characters in the story are applauded with greater fervor than the good, I'll go ahead and say Native Americans, who stayed with their former masters and were ready to give up their lives to protect their white friends. Ah yes, the good blacks, something that no racist would ever say. This argument is completely absurd to his modern readers, but Griffith got a lot of mileage out of claiming that he couldn't possibly be stoking racial hatred if he was merely just teaching black audiences how to behave properly and be subservient to white people. Yikes. If his film was innocent of race baiting, then why did Griffith think he was getting critiqued so much? Griffith accused the newspaper that their editorial was part of an organized effort to suppress a production which was brought forth to reveal the beautiful possibilities of the art of motion pictures. Griffith actually thought that he was the innocent victim in this situation. In his deflection, Griffith not only uses the Birth of a Nation's artistic merits, but the whole entire possibility of cinema as an art form in order to deflect critiques of his white supremacist ideology. Backed by nearly universal praise for the Birth of a Nation from early reviewers, this defense proved really successful for Griffith. He made it so that critics of his film weren't so much arguing against racism as they were arguing against art itself, which really hampered the ability of critics fighting back against the Birth of a Nation to win over favor in the public. Griffith wasn't able nor willing to see that just because something had artistic value didn't make it uplifting or a force of good. The irony here is that the Birth of a Nation deserves so much criticism because it was so well made. The film caused irreparable harm and stalled racial progress in America largely because of its mixture of propaganda with Griffith's mastery of cinematography, production design, and editing. If it wasn't well made, there would be no defenders to stop it from being heavily censored and quickly forgotten. If it wasn't racist, then Griffith wouldn't have had to gone to such great lengths in order to convince the public that his work was art as a defense for his film. Griffith's defense of his film as art worked hand in hand with another defense he used, that of recreating history as it truly happened, which I will be breaking down in my next video on part of this series of Birth of a Nation, so follow me so you don't miss out.